Hey, good morning everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make icebox cookies. You know, Christmas is gone and you can't get them anymore, so you have to make your own. And I also figured Valentine's Day is coming up soon. So this year I have time to do like holiday recipes. So if you have someone special you want to give them something that's got like, you know, something red in it, well, you could make a batch of these cookies and I think they'd appreciate it because, I don't know, I always believe that personal gifts are way better than, you know, like picking a gift card off the shelf, right? And this is a chilled cookie recipe, so it doesn't strictly matter, you know, absolutely what order you do things in, just some are easier. The thing that's going to take the longest is creaming the butter and sugar. And I should mention, you know, I like berry sugar, or what they call caster sugar in other parts of the world. You can use a plain granulated sugar, white sugar, but the texture will not be as fine. Measure and mix the baking powder in the flour. A big mixing spoon is just fine for this because you're going to be tossing the cherries in here, so that will mix it up some more naturally. You'll want to make sure that the butter is left out to soften a bit, but you also don't want it to be so warm that it gets mushy. You want it basically easy to cut like this. So just carve it up in little pieces in the bowl first. Now you don't strictly need gloves for the cherries, but if you're not going to use them, be prepared to wash your hands, because these little critters are gorgeous, but they get very sticky very quickly when they smell awesome, and if you start eating them you won't have enough to do 2 recipes. So just give these a rough chop. Now depending on how you like your cookies, you might want to, you know, get out a small pair of scissors. I have heard it done that way if you want perfectly equal pieces in each cookie, or halves, or whatever. I'm not that fancy. Okay, I'm not going to put that in the flour right yet because I want to cream the butter first. So just add all this at once. It's soft enough now. See, what the little pieces do is it makes it warm up faster than if you leave it in a block, because there's more surface area. You can even see it's getting slightly greasier on the outside, so you want to keep an eye on this and not wait too long. Basically, yeah, if you do, chop your cherries and then you're ready to go. And vanilla extract, if you've got it. I have an old bottle. This stuff is crazy expensive now. Okay, once it's all mixed, it's not going to start flying around. You can turn it up. That's nearly good. So just get a spatula, and yeah, make sure that's not going to fall out on the counter. Kind of pick that stuff out in case there's any stuck bits. You don't want to whip it so long it actually starts to melt. You just want it the consistency of frosting. Well, I missed a step, so I'll just explain it to you. I realized the camera was off. What you have to do is put the cut cherries into the flour and then mix them up with a spoon till they're all covered with flour like that. You can get in with gloves. I'm going to. Actually, it's just so much quicker. You could mess around with the spoon, try to mix in your flour and cherries and the butter mixture. You could just go whatever and get the glove on. Now for this you want to squeeze it lightly. So just work at that with your fingers like that until you've got all the dry bits mixed in. It's okay to squeeze it to get it to form a mass, but just try not to overwork it to the point that it starts to melt. Get out a big piece of parchment or wax paper if you prefer. You know, this is going to make 2 logs of cookies, and each one will make about 2 dozen thin cookies. So just visually estimate that. Doesn't really matter how perfect it is. And you can freeze this dough. Personally, I just bake them all at the same time. Though I might freeze one, I don't know. Get 1/2 of the dough and just form it into a log like that. Turn the paper over and you just squeeze it up from the sides to shape it better. Get the paper over it. Okay. So once it's completely covered with paper, then you can start shaping it pretty aggressively. And you just roll that up. Twist the ends. Okay, since it's Valentine's coming up, let's try something fun. So grab the bottom. We'll see. This is probably going to be a disaster, but hey, you know, it's like any other Valentine's effort. It's the thought that counts, right? You want them to think that you tried. And if they go, the cookies aren't perfect, well, maybe you should pick another Valentine. Deep breath. That sort of feels like a heart shape. We'll find out on completion. And do up the other one. Put that in the fridge to chill for at least a couple hours. Oven's heating up to 375 Fahrenheit. Dough's been in for a few hours. So it's time to see if... I don't know if I got this right, but you know, it's Valentine's, so the thought that counts, eh? Okay, so let's start slicing, see what we've got. So a couple of cookies in, we'll see if these are Valentine material. Not so far. Oh well. I think I gotta squeeze it better. Oh, nearly. Hey, you know, you can just put a few in a little box. How's that? Well, it's sort of a lopsided heart. It was a last minute thought anyway, so you could spend far more time shaping your roll, and if you used saran wrap instead of parchment, you could really see what you're doing. So these will have to do. So there's a little over 24 cookies. They sort of look like hearts. If I worked at it, I'm sure I could get them to look pretty nice, but they're going to taste really good. So pop them in at 375 Fahrenheit for 10 to 12 minutes on the timer. 12 minutes. Pull them out, see what we got. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Some are a little darker than others. Okay, so we got them cooling off on the rack here. Some of these are more heart-like than others, you know, but you can always like test where you are by telling them they're like Valentine cookies, and they're either going to go, of course they are, or what, you know. Well, that one's a good one. The thing is so messed up. My camera's actually doing the facial recognition zoom on these things, which is kind of creepy. I'll put some on a plate. So there's my Icebox cookies, right when you've been missing them after Christmas and just in time for Valentine's. So see y'all again and subscribe.